Welcome to Project GET's Climate Change and Greenhouse Gases unit. Now that we've added a greenhouse gas, carbon dioxide, to our model, let's design, build, and experiment with the model to look at a new question about climate change and greenhouse gas emissions. You should use the project design form to describe a project you can do using your greenhouse gases with carbon dioxide project. When you're ready to start designing your new project, it's best to start off with a simple idea that won't require too many coding additions and then building from there. There are many different ways you could modify the current model that you have. So if you had your factory with emitting carbon dioxide, you could maybe just change the code enough so that things work differently. In the model I'm showing you right now, for example, what I've done is I've created a time limit for the factory to run. So you notice there's no more run factory button. The factory just started running at one point and then stopped running at another. You can still control how much CO2 is emitted by that factory, but I decided to have the amount of time that that factory is running for hardwired. I did that by using the clock, and that is basically the only thing that was changed. So that would be an example of an easy change you might want to make. Something a little bit harder would be changing out that factory and swapping it for some cars or buses if you wanted to get even more complicated. You could put in different types of cars and have the cars emit CO2. If you wanted to get more complicated than that, you could have hybrid cars, electric cars, gas-guzzling cars, and more normal economy cars, all of them emitting different types of CO2, and you could run experiments based on that. So it can really get as complicated or as simple as you like. In this example I'm showing you, we just have cars. After a certain amount of time, they should start driving around and emitting CO2 just like the factory I showed you earlier. The code for the car has to have information on driving, moving, and hatching CO2, causing CO2. And here is that clock data again for deciding when the cars get to move. Now it's your turn to design and develop your own greenhouse gas Starlogo Nova model. Let's go back to looking at the project design form, where you'll be writing in all the important information for designing and developing your model. What questions do you seek to answer? What changes to the model will you make to experiment with those questions? What are the dependent and independent variables involved? What is the range of values you will use for those variables? How many trials will you run? And how will you capture the data? How will you analyze that data to see whether it helps you to answer your question? Once you've carefully planned your experimental model, begin coding, testing, recording, and analyzing. Have fun coming up with your own projects. Good luck!